Okay, today we are going to chop a sample. It's going to be a breakbeat chop, kind of in the style of 1990s jungle music. This should be a good introduction on how to do some sample chopping with the OP-1 field. So I'm going to start with creating a new track here. I use the Studio 4 track. Now I've got samples loaded, so I could normally you've got all your instruments when you go to your instruments button. If you go to user, that directory inside your OP-1 has all kinds of stuff in it. I've got the Blackbird's theme. So it's just a loop. These are loops I've had for a long time, but we're going to use this beat because it's got a little bit of dynamics, got a little bit of roll in there. Okay, so that's a good starting point. Now, what I like to do is instead of sampling directly, you can sample directly into the tape or into the drum machine, but this way, because I've got it loaded in an instrument, I can apply some effects. And the reason I want to do that is because sometimes I want to do a little bandpass filter. In my case, I like to take the low ends off of samples. This one also sounds a little hot, so I'm going to take some of the high end out. And the effect I'm using is called Nitro. Nitro is your set of filters. When you go into Nitro, your blue controller is your low, it's your low frequency, your high pass filter, and your highs is where your highs are cut, or your low pass filter. And this button controls just your resonance. Now I don't want any resonance here. This is just a very subtle filter I want. Okay, so I'm going to record that to my tape. I'll just use track 1, make sure my volumes look good. And here goes. So pay no attention to the BPMs at this point. I'm just getting it onto tape. Okay, now if I wanted to do another filter here, I could go to my mixer and set a filter, but I've already done that. So I'll go to my drum sampler and I'll get ready to sample. You have your choice of inputs here. What I want is the out in. That's the OP-1 resampling itself. So if I hit stop, stop, that goes to the beginning of my tape, and then hit play. Okay, so essentially what I want is, I want about 2 bars. I want about 8 whole notes. So here we go. So the reason I do that is because this wants to chop up a sample into 16 parts. And if I do that, it automatically gets close to where I want, and then I just have to make fine adjustments to my sample start and end points. I also want to change the play mode to group on all of these. Group means that one sample cuts off the next one. So for example, and I just have to do that one by one. Now I'm going to adjust my start points. By the way, one thing I love about the OP-1 field that the original OP-1 didn't have is you can jump in to fine-tune your waveform, your start points, your end points. So you can see I've got the original beat is broken across these 8 notes here. An easy way to play those back is using the endless sequencer. I've got endless selected, and I'll just play them in one note at a time. And now if I play that back, sounds choppy. We can bring our BPM up. Now, alternatively, if you have a very fast BPM, these samples are going to get clipped, so you'll want a different pitch. Basically to what sounds good. We'll go to that sounds good. We will cut that original, and I'm just going to play that first sequence here. I'll go back, cut the tail off of that. I'll go back into endless, and I'll play a different sequence here. Sure, that sounds good. I'll go back to endless, try something different. Funky. And that's basically it. Punch in an in point and an out point. We're in a loop mode now. Let's listen to that. Let's say we want to capture a little bit of performance with a delay. Why not? Go into my master. I'll choose the delay. I'm going to save that to memory 1. And let's try a different delay for memory 2. Okay, so just playing, there you can see my input is completely off, feedback is a 0. But if I hit memory 1, recalls those parameters. Memory 2 does not recall anything. Let's put it up here. Okay, so speed of 40, feedback 48 on 1, memory 2, speed of 93, sure, why not? So now let's just practice. Okay, so let's say I want to bounce that down to track 2. I'll choose track 2, I'll mute it, set the input for sampler resample, turn off my loop. So just to make sure that I'm listening to the output of the OP-1 is going to be the input for track 2. Play it just to get my signals right, maybe boost them up a little bit, and I'm ready. Okay, that wasn't super great, but let's turn off the input and we'll mute 1 and unmute 2 and listen to that. Okay, that sounds terrible, but that just shows you how to do that.